Hi, next we discuss about broadside array. First of all, what is mean by broadside array? It is an array when it has maximum radiation in the direction perpendicular to the array axis. We have maximum radiation in a direction perpendicular to the array axis. Such type of antenna array is known as broadside array. Consider here we arrange the antenna elements, that is antenna array is along the z axis. Okay, so this is the antenna array axis, that is a vertical axis. And for a broadside array, its maximum radiation is perpendicular to the array axis, that is along the horizontal direction, that is the axis of major lobe. We can check the radiation pattern. This is the radiation pattern. Okay, when we check this radiation pattern, it is clear that okay, here the major lobe axis is along horizontal line. Okay, and the array axis is vertical line. So it is a broadside antenna array. The same figure we already studied in the case of same amplitude and same phase 2-point sources. Okay, so we can say that here we consider n point sources and the phase difference of the current is 0. At that case we got the broadside array. So we can plot the radiation pattern. For that we consider we want to find the maximum radiation. We know that the maximum radiation will be occur when the phase difference is 0. Okay, and we know that the phase difference psi is equal to beta d cos theta plus delta, where delta is the phase difference due to applied current. Okay, here we apply the same phase to all the current, or sorry, all the antenna element. So delta is equal to 0. The phase difference is only due to the path difference, and psi is equal to beta d cos theta. We can say that the maximum radiation will be occur when psi is equal to 0. So we can equate beta d cos theta to 0, and finally we will get theta is equal to 90 and 270. At 90 and 270 you will get the maximum radiation. Okay, and next is we want to find the grating lobe. Okay, what is mean by grating lobe? That is a side lobe with magnitude similar to that of the major lobe. That is a grating lobe. We know that the normalized electric field intensity En is equal to sin n psi by 2 divided by n sin psi by 2. Okay, and we can say that the field will be maximum when numerator is equal to 1 provided denominator not equal to 0. That is the condition for maximum field. Okay, that is numerator equal to 1 provided denominator not equal to 0. Okay, in the case of normalized electric field, we can apply that condition here. That means numerator term sin n psi by 2 equal to 1, and sin will be 1 when odd multiple of pi by 2. Okay, so we can check equate that is n psi by 2 equal to plus or minus 2m plus 1 pi by 2, and m is equal to 1, 2, 3 etc. What is the reason? M here we do not consider m is equal to 0. Why? Because this is the condition for maximum radiation, sorry, maximum field, and when m is equal to 0 we get the major lobe. We want to find the grating lobe, that is the side lobe other than major lobe. It have same strength as that of the major lobe. So except m is equal to 0 you can substitute the value 1, 2, 3 etc. So here in this equation when we rearrange you will get psi is equal to plus or minus 2m plus 1 pi by n, and we know that psi is equal to beta d cos theta. Substitute that, you will get cos theta is equal to plus or minus 1 by beta d into 2m plus 1 pi by n. Here we assume the number of element, antenna element n is equal to 4, and the distance between antenna element is equal to lambda by 2. Okay, you can check with the question paper. Sometimes in the question paper it may mention the number of antenna elements and the spacing between the antenna elements. Here we assume the condition that n is equal to 4 and d is equal to lambda by 2, and substitute that, and you will get cos theta is equal to plus or minus 2m plus 1 by 4. Here we can substitute m is equal to 1 case only. The reason is that for m greater than 1, you will get cos theta greater than 1 or less than minus 1. That is not a possible in practical case. Okay, so cos theta is equal to, when substitute m is equal to 1, you will get cos theta is equal to plus or minus 3 by 4. From that, you will get theta is equal to plus or minus 41.4 degree and plus or minus 138.6 degree. So you got the grating law. Next, we want to find the null points, that is the pattern minima. Okay, and the minimum will be occur when electric field intensity is equal to 0. We can equate that equation to 0, and that is a sin n psi by 2 divided by sin psi by 2 equal to 0. Either electric field intensity equation or normalized electric field intensity equation, that can be equated to 0. And we can rearrange the equation, and finally you will get n psi by 2 equal to plus or minus m pi, because we know that sin term is a sin is equal to 0 at the integer multiple of pi. Okay, then psi is equal to plus or minus 2m pi by n, and we know that psi is equal to beta d cos theta, that is equal to plus or minus 2m pi by n. Here also we assume the same condition. Here we plot the radiation pattern of an antenna array where the number of antenna element is 4 and the distance between antenna element is lambda by 2. Okay, we consider that case and we want to plot its radiation pattern. Okay, so substitute that value, n is equal to 4 and d is equal to lambda by 2. So you will get cos theta is equal to plus or minus m by 2. Here also you can choose the value m is equal to 1 and 2 only. For other values, you didn't get any realizable value for cos theta. Okay, from that you will get theta is equal to plus or minus 60, plus or minus 120, 180 and 0 degree. Okay, so you got the direction of maxima, direction of grating lobe and the null point. From that you can plot the radiation pattern. Okay, you know that the maximum radiation is along 90 degree and 270. When check here, major lobe is along 90 and 270 and the grating lobes are along plus or minus 41.4 degree, these two grating lobes, and also plus or minus 138.6 degree. These are these two grating lobes. And null points occur at plus or minus 60 degree, plus or minus 60 degree, plus or minus 120 degree, 180 and 0 degree. These are the null points. Okay. Next, we want to find the first null beam. First null beam. What is the first null beam? That is the angular separation between first null point. When we check this radiation pattern, it is clear that the first null beam width is 120 minus 60, because this is the, if we consider, this is the major lobe along the 90 degree and the null points occur at 60 and 120 degree. So 120 minus 60, that is 60 degree is the first null beam width. That is the case for when n is equal to 4 and d is equal to lambda by 2. But we want to find the general condition. Okay, general condition for first null beam width. For that, let we consider, let gamma be this angle, the angle between first null and the major lobe axis. Okay, and theta is the angle between first null point and the z axis. Okay, from that you got that the first null beam width, that is 2 gamma. First null beam width is 2 gamma, and what is the relation between gamma and theta? You got that theta plus gamma is equal to 90 degree. Theta plus gamma is equal to 90 degree, and the first null beam width is 2 gamma. Okay, so we can say that first null beam width is 2 gamma, and the gamma can be represented in terms of theta as 2 into 90 minus theta, because theta plus gamma is 90, so gamma is equal to 90 minus theta. You substitute that here, and we want to find the position of the first null beam, first null point. Okay, so for that we want to use the general equation. The first null points are occur at beta d cos theta is equal to plus or minus 2m pi by n. That is the condition for the null points. Okay, we take that equation beta d cos theta is equal to plus or minus 2m pi by n. Okay, then you know that beta is equal to 2 pi by lambda, substitute that here, and finally you will get cos theta is equal to plus or minus a lambda by d into m by n, and theta is equal to cos inverse plus or minus a lambda m by dn, and we know that theta is equal to 90 minus gamma. Theta is equal to 90 minus gamma, substitute here, and you will get cos inverse plus or minus lambda by d into m by n. And we know that cos 90 minus gamma, that is sin gamma, is equal to plus or minus lambda by d into m by n. Here we find the position of the first null point. That means m is equal to 1. So you will get sin gamma is equal to plus or minus lambda by nd. Here we calculate gamma in radians. So we can say that sin gamma is approximately equal to gamma. The reason is that gamma is in radian. Okay, you can check it. If gamma is in radian, you can say that sin gamma is approximately equal to gamma. So gamma is equal to plus or minus lambda by nd. Then we can say that first null beamwidth is 2 into gamma, that is plus or minus 2 lambda by nd. Okay. Then we know that the total length L is equal to n minus 1 into d. L is equal to n minus 1 into d. If n is very much larger, n minus 1 into d can be approximated as nd. So L is equal to n into d, and first null beamwidth become 2 lambda by L. Instead nd you substitute L, and we can convert it into degree by multiplying with 57.3. You will get 114.6 degree into lambda by L. That is the first null beamwidth. Next we can find the directivity. Okay, you know the equation for normalized electric field intensity, that is En is equal to sin n psi by 2 divided by n sin psi by 2. Okay, here we consider a far distant point where psi is very small quantity. So at the denominator you use psi by 2, it can be approximated as psi by 2. It is not possible at the numerator. Okay, what is the reason for that? Because here in the numerator there is a sin n psi by 2. Okay, we multiply by n times. Okay, that's why we can't approximate the numerator. We can approximate denominator only. So En become sin n psi by 2 divided by n psi by 2, and we know that delta is equal to 0 for a broadside array. So psi is equal to beta d cos theta. Substitute that, and you will get the equation of En. And we know that Pn is equal to En square. So you will get the normalized power. If you got the normalized power, you can easily compute the beam solid angle omega A using this equation. Okay, if we can find the omega A, you can find directivity D is equal to 4 pi by omega A. Okay, so first of all we can find the omega A. During the calculation you want to use the substitution, that is Z is equal to n beta d cos theta by 2. That means dz is equal to n beta d into minus sin theta into d theta by 2. You can use that substitution. Based on that, the upper limit and lower limit is also changing. Okay, and also here we interchange upper limit and lower limit. For an integration, when we change upper limit and lower limit, a negative sign will be multiplied. Okay, then finally you can say that here there is a function sin z by z the whole square, and it is a relatively fast decaying function, and we can approximate it as minus L to L sin z by z the whole square dz is equal to pi. You can substitute that, and you will get d is equal to 2nd by lambda. And we know that L is equal to n minus 1 into d. From that you will get the nd is equal to L plus d. And substitute that here, you will get d is equal to 2 by lambda into L plus d. For a large array, we can say that L is very much greater than d. So directivity d is equal to 2L by lambda. That's all. Okay, thank you.